What's going on, drinking buddies? Brand new podcast coming right at you. But you know what we gotta do before we start the podcast? We gotta pay a couple bills. We got some sponsors to talk about. First and foremost, we are brought to you by the video versions of It Now We Drink. That's right, the video versions on Vimeo in full HD, ad-free. Experience the madness, the wacky facial expressions, the nudity, no ads. All that fun shit on Vimeo for 99 cents an episode or $6 a month gets you all 78 or 79 or 80. I don't even know how many video versions are up at the moment. Unlimited streaming. Just watch them as much as you want. And of course, any money you spend on video supports me directly, which would be awesome right now because, you know, COVID and shit. Money's still a little tight. So check that out today at www.anwd.net/videos. Once again, that is www.anwd.net/videos. We're also brought to you this week by my Twitch stream. That's right, drinking buddies. Every week, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm playing video games for your entertainment. I'm getting silly on the internet and fucking shit up. So come check that out at twitch.tv/MattFandSlayer. That is twitch.tv/MattFandSlayer. Come hang out in the chat. Make me do some shots. It's a good fucking time. And last but not least, we are brought to you by our friends at Vinyl Me Please. Vinyl Me Please is the Record of the Month Club. The best damn Record of the Month Club. In fact, every month, Vinyl Me Please sends you one album that's essential to the modern vinyl collection. And it comes packaged with bonus tracks, inserts, color variants, album-inspired art prints, and custom cocktail pairing recipes. It is so much for your money. If you are a music fan, if you are a vinyl fan, sign up for Vinyl Me Please today. It is not like Record of the Month clubs of old. It's month to month, no strings attached, cancel anytime. So sign up today at www.joinvmp.com/ANWD. Once again, that is www.joinvmp.com/ANWD. My guest this week is newbie adult performer Jamie Jett. I gotta say, Jamie is an absolute fucking joy. Not only is she studying political science in college right now, she's gonna be a lawyer. Holy shit. I can't imagine all the judges that are just gonna be distracted by her. But in the meantime, we talked about everything from Fosta Sesta to almost dying in a threesome with fucking rattlesnakes to music to all sorts. It just went all over the place. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed making it for you. I'm sure we will have Jamie on again, especially because she foolishly agreed to hire me as a roadie. Sucker. So in the meantime, sit back, relax, pop a cold one, and enjoy, drinking buddies.
When aliens come to take over, they look at us like we're out of our minds now. We're gonna galactic makeover, and now we're thinking that they just might be right. I cannot wait for this whole world to end. I'm gonna break out the bottle with my friends. I think they'll tell the best stories when we're gone. And now we drink.
Jamie, how the hell are you?
I am so fucking good. How are you, Matt?
I'm half awake. Like, you got me up at real people hours. Like, what the fuck? Like, the sun's out. I'm day drinking. It's good. So you got...
Cheers. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Fuck yeah. What do you got in the cup there?
I'm drinking red wine because it's 2:00 in the afternoon and I shouldn't start on the whiskey yet. I got 19 Crimes wine because it resonates with a little bit of history that I'm a nerd for.
Hell yeah. Do you know that if you put that under camera, like the convicts tell stories?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. The label is the one of the convicts who was shipped to Australia for committing one of the 19 crimes.
And there's a full video story if you put a camera on it.
I was looking at that earlier.
That's awesome. When I was showing that, I'm like, that's some rad marketing. Like, whose idea was that? Like, just, oh yeah, we're gonna have an interactive label.
It's brilliant.
It is. We live in a weird future. Like, my alcohol's talking back to me and I'm sober. Like, how Just mine. I know you are pre-law, so I know all that stuff resonates with you.
It does. I'm getting a degree in political science, and I intend to go to law school at some point. But I want to take a fun 10-year detour and go be a porn star so I can make enough money to go to Harvard Law, and then, go become the lawyer to the sex workers and porn stars of the world.
Hell yeah. Hell
That's
yeah.
the goal. Yeah.
That is a rad fucking goal. Like, when you eventually get that law degree, are you going to more focus on, like, employment, entertainment law, or, like, outreach for sex workers?
I mean, it depends on what the issue frontiers at the time are. I certainly hope it doesn't take 10 years, but I think getting FOSTA SESTA repealed is the top of my wish list right now. The legal front.
It would be great to see that overturned. I just feel like so much of America misunderstands it that it won't be popular to overturn.
They packaged it up so nicely. It looks like such a nice law. It's like, all right, we're going to protect children and the victims of sex trafficking. But what it does is conflate all online sexual content with sex trafficking, which is not great. I was a Tumblr porn creator pre-FOSTA SESTA, so that had a real big impact on my work specifically. So I was have always been personally offended by it.
Yeah, nothing's more motivating than that. Like, oh, hey, you're fucking hurting my livelihood.
Yeah.
And it sucks because there's politicians that, like, I care for a lot of their policies and they were behind this or helped write it. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right. It's kind of both sides of the aisle are pretty bad when it comes to sexual liberty, in my opinion, honestly.
They are. And they're giant hypocrites about it in a lot of cases.
Oh, yeah.
Red states are primarily where pornography is consumed on the internet, but they're the first ones to be like, no.
Well, did you know that there's a difference in the porn search patterns in red states versus blue states?
I did, but I'm not up on the specifics of it, which I feel like you may be.
This is something that I find fascinating, is that in like really liberal areas in cities and places where everyone votes very democratic and is, all for equality, the most common porn search terms are all around BDSM and power exchange. So it's like the power structure that they all vote against in their everyday life is exactly what they're looking for when they're on Pornhub. And it's the exact opposite for really conservative areas, like the family values, like Christian folks are always looking at incest porn and, corruption of the family content. So I find that fascinating personally.
No, I definitely do too, especially because, like, when they're alone at home, people are looking for taboo shit. And that's why, unfortunately, the industry continues to pump out so much incest porn, is because it's being consumed.
Ugh, gross.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not here to kink shame, but not my cup of tea. I have very vanilla porn habits. Very vanilla.
Not your glass of whiskey.
Nope. Not my whiskey, not my tea, not anything that I'm going to consume at all. Just not into it.
I am thankful that I have not had to do that yet in my casting.
I'm sure it'll happen. Are you gonna go with those kind of scenes, or are you just gonna be like, okay, I know I'm just acting, or are you gonna try to bow out of doing that kind of stuff because it's gonna come?
Well, I'm really apprehensive about the day that I'm going to have to convincingly call someone stepdad on camera. But it's acting. I'll go with it.
It's art. It's performance. That's just what you have to tell yourself. It's like, if you were doing Shakespeare, there's some incest that happens there, and no one bats an eye. Just, you're going to have sex with the person. I mean, doesn't make them blood related or even step related to you in real life. It's acting.
Right. I'm from the California kink scene, so nothing really phases me anymore. I've been around the play party and orgy scene, and when you've seen people do crazy fucked up shit in front of 400 people in a very crowded sex club, there's not much that happens in porn that is really surprising anymore, personally.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think we don't see more of like that sort of stuff on a bigger scale in America? Because you go to places like Scandinavia and they will have live sex shows that are just available to the public. Why do you think it is such an underground taboo thing here in the States?
Because we're such a Puritan country. Like, Americans are terrified of sex.
Yet it's how we all fucking got here.
Yeah, for real. For real. Most Americans lose their virginity in cars because they're so, it's so uncommon to have access to like a safe, fun place to have sex when you're, you know, a young person in America, because our culture is so anti-sex, which is pretty sad, honestly.
That is super sad, especially because most kids can't afford something with leather seats. So, that's a stain that's not coming out.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I mean, I thankfully lost mine in someone's bedroom while their parents were out of town. So
Yay!
I also didn't have access to a car. So if it didn't happen in a bedroom, it would have happened in an alley or some shit. As a teenager, it's like, oh, hey, you're offering sex? Okay, yes, sex. Yes, well, yes. I know it's crazy that, like, we are over 200 years into this fucking country and we're still so fucking puritanical. Yes, we were founded by goddamn prudes, but obviously Amsterdam's not burning to the ground.
Oh, it's true. It's also such a double standard because Washington, D.C. is not a Puritan place at all.
Not at all. It's Hollywood for ugly people.
That's a good way to put it.
No one from D.C. ever likes that.
No, I had the misfortune of working on Capitol Hill for a summer, so I had to watch that firsthand.
Oh, I'm kind of sorry, kind of interested. Like, do you think your former employer is going to ever come across your content? And
I hope they do, honestly.
You just give them a shout out in one of the videos, like, this is for you. Thank you for the summer internship.
Yeah, like, thank you, Congressman. You working in your office was so boring that
this is what I had to turn to.
Well, this is what I wanted to do. This is fully chosen. It was like, of all of the careers in the world, this one seems like the most ideal.
It's a crazy, risky road for what you want to do later on, because unfortunately, so many people are going to discriminate against you for what you're doing. And it's such a fucking bummer. It shouldn't be. You are doing legitimate fucking work. You are doing a job. Like, you are not committing crimes. But unfortunately, your former employment's not a protected class, so people can fucking discriminate against you for it. And that sucks.
Well, I'm hoping to, be a precedent case when I do go apply to law school in 10 years. I'm hoping to have enough of a platform that if I show up with, good LSATs, that if the only reason I'm rejected is because of my like porn career, that I can make a big deal out of it and get the precedent changed for all the other porn stars out there who really want to go to law school or grad school or run for office.
I mean, they pretty much just opened the door for mainstream celebrities that want to come in. I'm pretty sure that
that's already open.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, oh, hey, you've acted in a couple films. Yeah, you can come be prestigious at our fucking Ivy League school. So why can't they fucking open the door for you?
Right. Like Angelina Jolie has sex on camera.
Oh, yeah. Hell, she had sex with Billy Bob Thornton on the way to an award show and then bragged about it while wearing his blood. That's a little more wild than most porn scenes. Oh, yeah, they had vials of each other's blood when they were married. They walked on the red carpet and talked about it.
That's kinky.
Right.
That's pretty kinky. Wow.
It's amazing, like, what mainstream celebrities are allowed to get away with. Like, that double standard, just because they're not actually showing their genitalia on screen. Occasionally in films, real sex happens. I mean, it's not often, but it does happen in some films. And no one ever discriminates against those performers.
Yeah, it's a total... it gets into, like, what the line between porn and art is. And I think it's a pretty blurry one. I mean, just in some of the shoots that I've done, I've noticed a real difference. Like, some I've shown up and it's been very clearly like, okay, like, here's the pool boy. You sleep with the pool boy. Pretty standard cliche plot. But, I did a really gorgeous scene with Naughty America where, like, there was a party bus and I was with some of the most beautiful women that I've ever met in my entire life. So I was like, this is not porn. This is like art on at least as much as a music video is. I mean,
I guess the way to determine if it's just flat out pornography or art is its overall intent. It's like, is this meant to just get someone's rocks off, or is this entertainment then get someone's rocks off? Because I can definitely tell, back in the day, I definitely jerked off to things that were just films. Like, oh my God, like tits came out and fuck. Just because I chose to jerk off to it doesn't mean that it wasn't art.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure someone jerked off to the Venus de Milo at some point.
I mean, I definitely do, yeah.
Is that the regular? Is that just your go-to?
Oh no, at this point, like, I've watched so much porn that, like, nothing surprises me, so I have to, like, go watch the news or something. Like, regular porn just doesn't do it. I have to just find, like, go on ABC and just, like, listen to whatever crazy shit is going on in the world, and, like, it really just takes the surprising element at this point.
Oh my God, are you sitting there jerking off to, like, LA car chases?
Sometimes, yep. I didn't.
I hope he gets away. Oh God, the cops got him. This is a reenactment, folks. I promise. That's not how. I'm sure it's much prettier when Jamie does it. I would hope a little. Just a tad.
Well, I got some of that coming out, so they'll see it.
Yes, support her smut.
Yes, please.
Right? Harvard doesn't pay for itself. Like,
oh, it does not.
So support her smut so she can get into Harvard. Oh my God, you are the first.
That's the goal, really.
You were like the first entertainer I know that, like, we're literally starting a college fund for you with your porn.
Yeah. I mean, I really want to get good at it fast too. I show up on set and I'm just like, I'm so used to college. I'm like, okay, how do I get an A? How do I make everybody come? Like, give me my grade. How'd I do?
Well, unfortunately, the way this industry works, sometimes you won't find out about that grade until way down the road when someone's gossiping about it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this industry is high school with fucking.
Oh God, I've noticed that. I've noticed that. I've only been in the industry for 2 weeks. I just got back from my first ever, like, porn trip to Las Vegas. I did 8 shoots, and one of the things I was noticing is what a little clique it is. But I've also I've been amazed by, I think, some of the most beautiful, kind people I've ever met in my entire life work in the porn industry. I think Bella Elise Rose and Spencer Bradley are 2 of, like, the most genuinely beautiful, kind, smart, brave people I've ever met, and I've had the pleasure of, like, meeting them through my industry work so far, and that's been awesome. I know you had Spencer on the show.
Oh, I love Spencer. I love Spencer. Like, she's great. She's absolutely great. And what I have found, like, I've been around for fucking decade at this point. What I found is, like, the people that you went to high school with that you would least expect to do porn are the ones doing porn. Is, like, we were talking before we got off air about, like, me and Xander Corvus. Me and Xander play D&D on Saturdays. We play fucking Dungeons and Dragons on Saturdays.
Right on.
It's like, wait a minute. It's the giant dorks that discovered their sexuality that are here.
I mean, it's all just role play, right? If you role play in D&D, it's not so far a leap.
Well, a little less fluid exchange, hopefully. A little less.
Depends on the D&D circle.
Well,
I've definitely been in one that was pretty kinky.
Oh my God, you actually play D&D? That's amazing.
Once back in the day, I ran with a group of, punk rock nerds for a while, and there was some D&D, there was a lot of mosh pits, a lot of drinking, all part of the package, usually all at the same time.
Nice. I know you're not exactly looking punk rock these days, but I know you come from a punk rock background. Like, do you ever have, like, Liberty spikes and, like, multicolored hair and all, like, the typical punk tropes?
Oh yeah. I've had a mohawk. I've done Liberty spikes. I've had hair in every color of the rainbow. It's actually a little bit weird for me to be in porn and have them cast me as, like, girl next door, because I'm like, wait, no, you don't understand. I'm goth as fuck. Like, that's not me. I showed up to set with a suitcase full of black lingerie and boots the first day, and they were like, honey, this is not going to work.
Oh, that's no good. That's no good. Like, because a part of making the art is being able to express who you actually are. So do you ever think that as you're more established in the industry, you're going to start doing your own production and do more, things that inspire you, punk rock shit. And
I hope so. I think, if I had the opportunity to shoot my own stuff, it would be entirely like intellectual goth porn, like getting fucked over a chess set in, when everyone's in fishnets and there's 20 people involved.
You are really into the group sex, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, it's more fun. It's more fun. Yeah, I've been interested in group sex since a long time before porn. I think that's actually how I ended up in the porn scene. Was the kinky orgy scene first.
Well, and
to be honest,
I was curious about how you got into that kinky orgy scene in real life. Like, how'd you get introduced to it? Like, because I imagine that's not something you just wake up one morning and be like, you know what? Today I'm going to a gangbang.
I mean, I've done that too off camera.
Well, yeah, now, but it's not like day one. You're like, you know what? Had some breakfast, worked out. I'm going to go find a gangbang. Like, how did you realize that you like that? Because we do live in puritanical America. That just that fact right there is mind blowing to a bunch of people. That you'd even consider that as fun or something exciting to do. So I'm curious how you ended up getting to there in the first place.
Well, that's my favorite thing in the whole world. Actually, it was the punk scene that really got me into like sexual liberty, and just like the libertine, like hedonistic culture is just my favorite thing in the entire world. I honestly, I think the true origin was having a lot of like sex and making out with people a lot in the mosh pit at punk shows and in the park outside. I think just like constantly switching partners and having an audience really got me used to being watched, which is why porn is honestly more vanilla than my real life.
Well, I know. That's why I'm much more curious about the real life.
Yeah. I think one good story is I was having a threesome at a speakeasy punk bar. This was a pretty wild place. It was built out of a warehouse into this just incredible like punk rock Disneyland venue and a skate park. And if you slid a secret bookshelf wall to the side, you got into this speakeasy like prohibition style bar.
Okay. Does this place still exist?
It does not. It was shut down in 2016 because it was very, very illegal.
I was about to be like, once we're off mic, I was like, I need to know where this is. Like, but damn it.
I mean, I've also been involved in working on creating new warehouse spaces in the part of the world that I'm from, so I can give you those details. But
I will take the short flight for it. Like,
hell yeah.
Hidden bars and off the beaten track shit like that is my jam.
It was a pretty great bar. I'd say that the one weird quirk it had was the bartender, who was also the venue owner, owned a rattlesnake, and he liked to keep his rattlesnake like in a little tank behind the bar, for fun and to scare everyone. But it became a problem one time because the generator of this venue was not particularly reliable, and one night it went out when someone was like handling the rattlesnake at the bar. And so we're in this like 300 person venue. I'm like naked having a threesome on the pool table. And suddenly like the lights shut out and someone's like, fuck, I dropped the rattlesnake. And it's one of the scariest moments of my life.
I can imagine. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they'd have something to talk about at your funeral if that's how you went out.
Right, that would be a good way to go.
Yeah, that's definitely a punk rock way to go. Like, yep.
Yeah.
Middle of threesome, bit by a rattlesnake. Yeah, that would, wow.
Pretty good, yeah.
I mean, shit, now I gotta think about how I want to die, because, like, I can't top that.
Well, I'll give you the like bar details, and you can
go play with a rattlesnake and hopefully have a threesome. Oh, fuck yeah! I mean, I'm already old enough that like at previous points in my life, I felt this was a fictional age, so I'm just on borrowed time, anyways. Nothing like, it's like, oh hey, late 30s. That's like someone's parents' age. That's not real.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And
it's all about the mindset.
And now here I am drinking whiskey in the middle of the afternoon talking to you. So I guess it is real.
Hell yeah.
So I want to know, the minute it's safe to do so, what band do you want to see? What show do you want to go to?
Oh God, good question. There's a goth band called Boy Harsher, which I really love. They do crazy shows. I would love to go see them. I mean, the real like the on-brand answer here is Joan Jett. My hero and my like true love forever, and the inspiration for my porn name. So, yeah, I would love to see Joan Jett on tour.
Are you a fan of the Runaways or just Joan Jett?
I mean, I like the Runaways too, but really, it's all Joan Jett.
It's all Joan Jett. Nice.
Yep.
But I want to hear more about this goth band because I don't know them.
They're pretty great. They do kind of electronic dance music, and it's incredibly spooky, and their shows just have the most incredible sexual tension. It's great. Dancing in the mosh pit at their shows just feels like, you're in the middle of a orgy, which is great.
Like, this is home for me.
Exactly, yeah.
That's awesome. Are they doing national tours or are they just California based?
They're doing national tours. They're doing national tours, and so is another favorite band is called Fiddlar. They're a pop punk outfit. They do a lot of kind of anti-capitalist stuff, which is fun. It appeals to the anarchist streak in me. So
nice. I know you were going about this eventually down the road of doing this in a courtroom and like fighting legal battles in the I wouldn't say stereotypical way, but I'm trying to think of the right way to phrase this. See, this is what happens when you get me out of bed this early. My brain just not quite firing on all cylinders. But I'm curious, have you gone out and like protested like with all the other stuff? Like, have you been out in the streets, or is your activism reserved for doing it through, I guess, technically proper channels?
I mean, I've definitely worked on legislation a little bit. I feel like I'm one of the few people in my like professional political circles who has the interest in sexual liberty and, drug decriminalization, the full package of like libertine, like hedonistic activities that I really think that our state shouldn't be criminalizing or punishing people for in any way. So I think writing legislation to legalize drugs and sex work, I think, is really where my passions are right now.
Hell yeah. What do you think about Oregon?
Yeah. Specifically, which aspect of Oregonian politics?
Well, the fact that they just decriminalized like everything.
I love it. They are doing exactly what everyone should be doing.
Yeah, it's
in my opinion.
It's crazy. I was talking to some friends about it. It's just like, oh, you can legally smoke crack in Oregon now, but it's $100 fine. Like, if I have $100, I'm buying more crack.
It's like we're moving to Oregon. Great.
Yeah. I wonder how much, since Portland's like right on the Washington border, I wonder how many people from Washington are just like gonna scoot across the border, do their drugs, come back.
Portland's a pretty good place for that. So
it is. Well,
yeah.
It's just wild to me. Like, yes, states should have rights and everything, but we have very fucking porous borders. So like just doing things, haphazardly, like, oh yeah, it's good in Oregon, but Oregon's major city is literally on the Washington border. It doesn't make sense for Washington to not adapt similar laws.
Yeah, you're right.
It's kind of like my thoughts on like gun laws. Whatever we do, we should figure out some national fucking plan. If we're more restrictive, less restrictive, it should be something national, because it makes no sense that California is surrounded by like some of the most gun-friendly states in the nation and has crazy draconian gun laws.
Oh, it's true. I'm from California, and even as someone who's finds the concept of like personal defense important and sexy and politically relevant, I had never shot a gun until last week while I was in Nevada.
As you do when you go to Vegas.
As you do, yeah. It was not like the movies. I will say that. I had, being from a liberal California city, the only contact I've ever had with like firearms of any sort was, like TV shows and action movies. And I don't think I've ever had an appreciation for the complexity and sophistication of the machine. Like, I didn't realize that when a gun goes off, it's just like, it's a big deal.
Oh yeah, it is a big fucking deal. Like, they're very simple but very complex machines. The fact that, like, if you move your hand a quarter of an inch, depending on how far your shot is, you could wholly miss your target. The problem, much like sex work and group sex and so many things that involve sex, there's so many misconceptions when it comes to firearms.
Yeah.
Because all people know is stuff from fucking movies, television, and in a lot of cases, the people writing that shit have no fucking background in it.
That's for sure. That is for sure.
That's the same reason, like, you shouldn't be taking a dating advice from television or a rom-com, because this is just some writer's fantasy that has been greenlit and put to screen. It may have no basis in reality.
That's for sure. Yeah.
It's wild. I have a fairly extensive, like, armed security background, so...
Cool.
That's actually...
Tell me more about that.
So that's actually kind of how I got in the industry. Like, I'm originally from Chicago, and I was doing armed security, and, like, I kind of fell into the industry because the bar I hung out at had a Burning Angel night, and there was, like, seven performers that worked for BA at the time living in Chicago. And through them, I met more people. I started roadieing for girls, like, started going on the road with people, and, like, worked conventions, providing protection, shit like that. And it's just kind of snowballed from there. So
that's so interesting. It's
a wild path for almost anyone who's not actually on screen. It's a weird path to get here.
Yeah. So you were the defender of, adult performers at conventions, and
the guy who's scooping dollar bills on stages when people were feature dancing. And
was it a fun job? Is that how you ended up here?
I enjoyed it. I always had a good time with it. Some gigs were better than others. Some gigs were bad of my own volition. I definitely have made some poor choices in my life. Definitely got kicked out of the hotel room with the performer I was working with at AVN 2014 because I brought someone else back to the room and they got into a fight. Like,
oh no.
Yeah. That was a bad 5 a.m. choice. But, that's life.
Are there any good 5 a.m. choices?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes.
I've heard that the AVNs have a lot of good and bad 5 a.m. choices that happen during the week.
Definitely. Well, and it has definitely gotten a lot less wild over the years. Well, and a lot of that is because...
too bad.
Well, a lot of that is the prevalence of, mobile phones and cameras being everywhere. Like, people have to get, you have a reputation that you have to uphold. You have an image you have to uphold. And nobody's going to want to, hire you if you're sloppy, fall over drunk at the Circle Bar and there's proof of it. Like, those things definitely happen. But if someone's, like, sitting there and it ends up on the internet, so, I mean, there's still definitely plenty of wild shit that goes down, but it happens more behind closed doors these days.
That makes sense.
AVN 2012, I was just at Circle Bar and, like, someone got disrespectful to a performer and we almost ended up in a bar fight, like, at the Circle Bar because some random dude was talking shit to I don't want to name drop who it was, but, like, a fairly famous performer at the time, and, like, her boyfriend was like, what the fuck, dude? And we're just like, well, I guess we're in this. And thankfully it didn't escalate, but, like, shit like that used to happen all the time. It's just a crazy volatile mix, and it's just been, at least the last couple of years I've went, is not as crazy.
That's a shame. I got into the industry at the wrong time.
There's never a wrong time to get in this industry. Come on. Well, actually, with the COVID happening, it might be not the most opportune time, but not the wrong time. I'll go with that.
Well, I'm bummed that the AVNs won't happen this year because, it sounds pretty wild, and I would be looking forward to it if they were happening.
They always were a good time, and I am honestly bummed that it's become more of a fan convention than it was when I first started going. It was really just a trade show. Like, it was, yes, fans were there, they had fan packages, but the fans were definitely an afterthought. Every day had hours that were industry only. I think they're still doing At least 2018 was the last time I went, but they at least had Wednesday only was industry only. But it used to be like 3-4 hours of industry only before the fans were even allowed on the floor, because of the previous venues rules with the state. The booths weren't allowed to sell anything, which it's great that everyone can make money now, but it was more about networking than, not as much about making retail sales.
Networking in this industry just seems fun, though. I have never met more interesting people than I have in the past couple weeks, honestly.
It's always, nobody in their second grade classroom is like, what do you want to be when you grow up? A pornographer. No one. So this is always, for everyone, a detour from what they originally wanted to do in life. So it's always an interesting story about how we ended up here. Thankfully, it's becoming more and more acceptable. Like, though, I guess one of the good things that has come out of the COVID pandemic is because of OnlyFans being so socially acceptable, hopefully more and more sex work will become socially acceptable.
That's the goal. That's my life mission, is to work on that.
And I mean, we're getting to the point where, like, I look at my Twitter and, like, my Twitter is filled with industry folks, comedians, and a couple other randoms. But it's like some of the female comedians are doing OnlyFans now because they have no stages to get up on.
I mean, everyone's taking nudes and has been taking nudes. It's just part of our dating landscape these days. So it just makes sense to, put art in its correct place.
Definitely. And I feel like such a prude. I have never actually taken a nude. Not one.
You've never taken it. You work in the porn industry and you've never taken a nude.
Nope. Because I know that once it's on the internet, it's there forever.
That is also fair.
So I'm like, no. If you want to see my dick, it's got to be in person.
Well, interacting with people in person is fun and more fun in every context. Like
100%.
So.
I've definitely taken like a erect picture in my boxers, and with someone I was intimate with, like, oh my God, you're turning me on, like, but never like full on, just like dick pic. Like I don't think there's really a good flattering angle for like a real dick pic. Like implied dick pic can be artistic.
Definitely. You gotta dress it up a little bit.
Right, like, women are always talking about, like, Grey's sweatpants season. They're never talking about just like dick out.
Yeah. Well, if you don't take nudes, then what have you been doing during quarantine?
You're looking at it. You're looking at what I do during quarantine.
You Skype. All right.
Whoa, you're giving away your age here. Skype. It's 2020. Zoom. Skype's so last year. Maybe in your educational and legal circles that they still Skype people. No,
yeah, we do.
Since you're 2 weeks into the industry, what the hell have you been doing with yourself?
Well, watching a lot of porn. I have been, the first part of quarantine, I was working on, coincidentally, I had just moved into a giant warehouse that we were trying to turn into a new warehouse venue, on the model of the previous era of warehouse speakeasy concert venues. And so when everyone else was like stuck in their apartment, drinking wine with their cats, I was like locked in a warehouse with like 10 really gorgeous people. So that was a pretty fun quarantine phase. I will say, when you're like locked in a warehouse doing ketamine with people for like 2 months, you get to know them very fast. You end up like a very tight and conflictual group very quickly. It's a really interesting experiment. It kind of felt like being on a reality TV show.
It could have been. If you had just set up cameras, it definitely could have been. You could have been selling that right now and been, even expanding your brand even more.
Oh, especially because one of my housemates was a contortionist, so we could have been, making millions on OnlyFans like 6 months ago. I
mean, honestly, you could just move right now. You could move this reality show to Oregon and do the ketamine on camera because it's been decriminalized.
That is a good idea. Yes.
All right, interview over. We're just gonna move to Oregon. I'll pick you up on the way up.
Awesome. Okay, let's go.
I know we just met today, but we're doing this. We're doing this right now. We're gonna throw our careers away. It'll be amazing.
I mean, I think I think given the way that Oregon's going, I would be surprised if we're not shooting porn in Portland in 10 years.
I mean, there definitely is some interesting stuff that is shot in Portland already.
It's a lot of kink stuff, as far as I'm aware. Yeah. Like San Francisco.
A friend of mine, I know there was a site, I don't know if it's still there, where the male talent would be a corpse, or one of the performers would be a corpse, and then would come to life in the middle of the scene. Like, that was the whole kink.
That's hot. That's hot. That's great.
I wish I remembered the name of the site, but I know a couple of people that have shot for them. They're based out of Portland.
That sounds like fun. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Well, hopefully they see this and they're still around and they can book you. But if California continues to get more restrictive on sex work and shit like that, because the AHF keeps trying to force shit down people's throats.
The condom rule that was passed a few years ago.
Yeah.
Evidence that Sacramento does not know what the heck they're talking about.
Well, and that comes from the fact that we don't have lobbyists.
Not yet.
Not yet. We don't have any real lobbyists. We definitely don't have lobbyists on a federal level.
Which is so ironic, because you and Xander Corvus were making this point the other day, and it has stuck in my head because I've seen it happen, that the standards that federal politicians apply to everyone else are not the ones that are applied to Washington hotel rooms. So.
Oh yeah. Escorting's alive and well in D.C.
It really is. While I was a congressional intern, I was nude modeling in the city. Just doing some amateur stuff for fun. But because I was, in those circles, I would talk to girls who were escorting for politicians, and I won't say any names, but there's some very deep irony in the people who are passing anti-sex work legislation and then hiring 18-year-olds to come lick whipped cream off their chests in their hotel rooms after meetings. So
yeah, and I got no problems with it except for the hypocrisy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, just apply that standard to everyone else and we're fine.
Right.
Yeah.
So speaking of a similar situation like that, have you watched the new Borat movie?
I have not, but I've heard some about it. I've heard that Rudy Giuliani hits on someone who's underage.
So they misrepresented that in a lot of the articles. I actually watched the movie. There is zero mention that the actress's character is 15 to Giuliani till after he's about to pull his dick out.
That just seems like manipulation of the scenario for film, to be honest.
It seemed like a manipulation of the media's bias on it. So the character's 15, the actress is 24. In the scene before they go into the hotel room, they're having drinks together on camera with a whole camera crew there.
Oh, okay.
So Giuliani is still being a creepy piece of shit. Like, he's touching the small of her back. He's like, "Oh, you're doing well, honey." Like, touching her hands. Like, and then she's like, "Let's have a drink in the hotel room," where it was all hidden cameras. When the headline was like, Giuliani about to pull his dick out for a 15, what was supposed to be a 15-year-old, was not exactly accurate.
Yeah, that's also anti-sex, ultimately. I mean, it sounds like Giuliani, as much as I'm not a particular fan of his, sounds like if you're in a situation where someone's inviting you up for sex, that's consensual. I don't know.
Oh, exactly. I mean, she set him up. She set him up to look like... Yeah, she's definitely set him up to look like a fool. But she's also a 24-year-old model.
Right. Yeah, it's 24 and 15 or not. It's pretty hard to make that mistake.
Well, and you'd think, like, if she was a 15-year-old, the camera crew would have been like, no drinking for her. You'd think.
For real, yeah. I mean, that's an implicit, if someone's drinking, they're not 15. I also
they set up the scene that she was interviewing him for a political, like a conservative television show. Like, who would think that a 15-year-old is the host of a interview? It's not real.
It seems like just an anti-sex story, ultimately, to me.
It does.
They're looking for a good headline, and yeah, it's an easy one.
I think Sacha Baron Cohen fucked up by barging in when he did, because Giuliani's dick on camera would have been hilarious. Because it was coming out. I have tucked many a shirt in my time, and I've taken off multiple lav mics in my time. I have never laid flat down in my bed and put my hand down my pants. When I was just in the company with, a 24-year-old model who apparently was DTF. I'm not blaming the dude. She's gorgeous.
Fair. It sounds like you would not be easily caught by Sacha Baron Cohen's jokes, so more power to you.
I mean, at that point, my dick would have been on the internet because it just would have been out. I probably would have gotten caught. I wouldn't have been a creep like Giuliani was, but my dick probably would. Yeah. Probably. Who knows?
Yeah.
Hopefully one day I'm famous enough where I am the subject of a Borat joke. That's the goal in life.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a pretty good gauge of notoriety.
Right? Like, I'm worth pranking. But it's amazing just in the political climate of 2020 where, like, people will misconstrue everything. And you have to look at everything under a fucking magnifying glass. Because everyone has a fucking agenda. Like, I am not a fan of Giuliani. Like, the last time I was a fan of Giuliani was on 9/11. And not before, and like, not on 9/12. Yeah. Like, just that day.
Yeah, you're a fan of the doctor when you're in the operating room. Like,
yeah. Like, please, doc, save my leg. Please.
Right.
And I'm not a fan of Trump. Like, and I don't think anyone who listens to the show ever would concern that I was. But when the man passes something that actually benefits people or does something that isn't wrong, I'm not there to like just be like, I'm going to call him out on another fault. Like, no, we have to, for society to improve, we have to actually be able to admit that like people we don't like are not wrong all the time.
I certainly agree with that.
I'm going to get on a pedestal here for like a second, maybe. That is one of the things that I feel we are missing in America is nuance. Like,
I agree.
Shit's not black and white.
A lot of stuff is black and white, is differentiated, but yeah.
But not everything.
Not everything.
And the problem is the majority of the populace treats it as everything is black and white. You got to look at everything by a case-by-case basis.
Word. You are speaking my language. I think you're... Yes. Yeah. I agree.
At least for me, I feel that people should be willing to try taking in new information and like admit when they're wrong. Because you can't be right 100% of the time.
I agree with that 500%. I mean, I study politics, so I'm in the unfortunate position of knowing my opinion on every single issue. And, when you look at like the full spread of my takes on the world, it doesn't line up with any major politician because I'm all over the board. But
and nor should it, because in the grand scheme of things, we are voting for the person that most aligns with us. No one is going to be perfect. It's just like getting into a relationship with someone. No partner is going to be 100% perfect. You're going to have to take some good with some bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, hey, they're hot. We have fun. But they have this wild opinion I'm not into. Like, you got to decide, is this a deal breaker for me? Yeah.
I mean, I have sex with people on both sides of the aisle, both on camera and off. So that's definitely something that I've learned to be. I think I'm politically literate on both ends of the spectrum, which I think is an advantage when I'm trying to flirt with cute girls at bars. So
I think so too. I'm curious. What is your diehard red pickup line for you see a cute girl at the bar and she's like wearing a MAGA hat? How do you roll?
I mean, it depends how cute she is.
Real cute, like real cute.
Oh man, I mean, it's easier with a boy in a MAGA hat or a guy with like a libertarian shirt because they've inevitably read Ayn Rand, so I can just be like, we'll slide up and be like, "Wow, I really loved Atlas Shrugged. Have you read it?" And then I'm in his pants. It's great.
Well, I mean, that's why I'm asking about girls because we're stupid. You're hot. We're stupid. That's how that rolls. Like I'm sure you could roll up to a dude in a MAGA hat and be like, Bernie or bust, and be like, I'm out. I'm still down.
I mean, I think with girls in a MAGA hat, it's like, hey, can I like buy you like a pink rhinestone gun? And then then you're done. It's easy.
What caliber pink rhinestone gun, though? What caliber?
Oh, I mean, I feel like a Colt 19 like fits in a purse.
That's got to be a pretty big purse, but I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Have you seen porn star purses? They're pretty big.
Well, they're either ginormous or next to nothing. It depends on the outfit. Like the set bag is huge. What you show up on a red carpet with is tiny.
That is true. It's true, 'cause you don't need to carry 500 pairs of underwear with you to the red carpet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why you hire someone like me at a convention, and I carry all that garbage for you. And the 20 fucking pairs of shoes. Why 20 pairs of shoes for 5 days? Why?
Will you carry all my panties when the AVNs come back?
If you're paying, sure.
Yeah.
This is a capitalist transaction. I don't do it for free.
Oh, of course not. No. We got $1,000 an hour for suitcase carrying. Sounds good.
Hold on. This is on camera. I agree to $1,000 an hour. Hold her to this for AVN 2021 or 2022, because 2021 is the next one.
Oh God, I hope it's back.
Hopefully it'll be back for 2022. Hopefully we'll be through this garbage. But I got an offer for $1,000 an hour. Audience, hold Jamie to this, because that is the best rate I'm ever going to get.
If I am successful enough to be at the AVNs 2022, then you got it, Matt. You got it.
Oh, little does she know you don't have to be very successful to make it to AVN. Fuck yeah. You're going to do this trip at a fucking huge loss. Fucking payday
I'll
for
have
me.
fun doing it. Sounds
Oh,
great.
no. Don't worry. I'll make sure you have a good time.
Great.
But I'll also make sure that you make it to your signings on time. I'm a good roadie. Except for that one time, I'm a pretty good roadie.
Excellent.
My Yelp stars are like 4.5.
That one time.
The audience has heard this.
What's the one time?
When I brought a girl back to the room at 5 a.m.
Oh, yes. You mentioned this earlier. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll get into the story a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, I was sharing a room with the performer, and it was a suite. It was a 2-bedroom suite. Not 2-bedroom, but a bedroom and then a living area. I was crashing on the couch. And, I brought another performer back to the room at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we were drinking, and the performer I was working for came out and was like, "Hey, just keep it down, guys." I'm like, no problem. And then, one thing started to lead to another, and then the performer I was working for basically just burst in the room like, "Get this bitch out of here." That's how she said it. But to be fair, we were loud and interrupting her sleep. But the performer I brought back to the room literally tried to fight her. I had to hook her around the waist and carry her out of the room.
That's not a great night. Damn.
No. And then I got locked out of the room. Hotel security gets called. And I'm perfectly calm in this situation. I'm just like, yo. Her shoe, the girl I brought back to the room, her shoes are still in there. Go in there, get her shoes, and take her back to her room because she was staying at the same hotel. And then I will deal with my client. I'm like, sir, you have to calm down. I'm like, do I not seem calm to you? They're like, actually, you really do. I'm like, yeah, I'm not worried about this.
Yeah.
So they get her, the girl I brought back to the room, her shoes. They escort her back to her room in the hotel. And like, sir, you're going to have to leave the property. I'm like, no. My name's on this room too. I will go chill poolside until she calms down, but I'm not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Then, about an hour later, she texts me like, you can come back to the room and go to sleep. I'm like, thank you. And then, yeah, we did the rest of the week. Because that was on the first night of fucking ABN. Because I'm an idiot.
I personally would expect my roadies to bring at least one girl or boy back to the room per night, so.
Well, the problem was, I knew this, the client didn't quite understand this. The client wanted to fuck me. She hired me because she wanted to fuck me. And
so this was not her getting mad at her roadie. This was her getting mad at the person she wanted to fuck for fucking someone else while she could hear it.
Little did she know, I totally would have fucked her if I wasn't working for her, but I'm not looking to fuck with my paper.
Yeah.
You hired me to be a roadie. I'm not going to fuck you now.
Oh.
There's a slight level of professionalism to me. Slight. And that's the line. If she'd just been come out and be like, yo, you want to fuck her? Yes, I do.
Yeah, you just gotta put that, gotta put it in writing, be like, all right, we're fucking, but it doesn't impact our professional relationship.
Yeah,
write that contract up.
That was the fear. I'm like, If I put it in her, I'm not getting paid for this week. And like my rent's more important than like getting laid.
Yeah. Fair.
Because there are definitely a couple points where we're like, oh, she's just naked in the hot tub while we're like, or in the jacuzzi while we're in the room. And I'm just like, hey, yep, we're here. This is a thing. Not making any moves.
That's been like a real dilemma for me on porn sets. It's like, how attracted am I allowed to be to my co-stars before it's like, is that part of the job? Is that appropriate? Is that ethically wrong? I don't know. I'm unclear.
I mean, it's a situation by situation.
Yeah.
Situation by wow, there's a lot of situations.
Yeah.
Well, it all depends. Like, does your scene partner have a relationship? What are their rules? Like, and you may not be privy to that. Like, unfortunately, that's kind of some of the drama that happens in this industry. Sometimes, like, sometimes people go outside of their relationships because they're into their scene partner when the cameras stop rolling, and that's outside of the rules of their relationship.
I've heard that dating in this industry is very hard, which is really sad because I'm from like the world where everyone is bisexual, polyamorous, kinky, and if people can navigate like a triad relationship where like someone's a sub and someone's a dom and someone's a switch, that it really doesn't seem that like it's kind of sad to me that porn performers can't differentiate between, you know, that open relationships can't work. Yeah.
It works for some people, but the problem is, you have some performers who don't particularly want to date other performers, and then you get like the world of civilian problems.
I keep hearing. I think it's so funny that, you know, I've only been doing this for 2 weeks, so I think it's so funny that we use the word term civilians for people who don't do porn on camera. But I mean, it makes sense. There's a real difference in understanding of how, like, the significance and meaning of sex. Yeah.
Well, definitely 1,000%. And on top of it, the problem is a lot of times the people that are actively pursuing performers are the guys that are interested in a performer because they want the bragging rights to be like, I'm fucking the object of your desire. They've already objectified you. They're not thinking of you as a person. They're thinking of you like, that's right. That's number 22 on Pornhub. Look who I'm fucking. But then the minute you got to go back to work and they're like, but you got to fuck somebody. Their brain can't handle it.
It's the savior complex.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm going to date you for porn and I'm going to save you from it. And it's like, no.
But you'd be amazed how often that happens. You'd be amazed how often people throw away fucking thriving careers over some Captain Save-A-Ho motherfucker.
Captain Save-A-Ho. You and Spencer were talking about this and I was cracking up, like, right here, like last night, doing my research, listening to you and Spencer talk about that. And I think it's totally spot on. Yeah.
It's a thing. And then because of puritanical America, also just people can't handle the fact that like their partner's having sex with someone else.
That's so dumb. I mean, maybe this is just me from my ridiculous background where I've been having like threesomes as a regular function of my relationship since like day one. But I think that's crazy. Like, I don't know. It's like, if you love someone, shouldn't you be happy that they're having more sex and more joy in their life? Like,
definitely. But it's not a thing that people come to like because of how they're raised, how they're treated, you know, childhood, adolescence, all that shit. Like, it's not something that people generally come to organically. Like, you have to be thrust into a situation that gives you the idea to take a pause, step back, and be like, okay, this is fine. I mean, when I first started dating performers, like, it took me a minute to be like, it's cool. Like, the first performer I like dated and I had some feelings for, like, I wasn't sure I was going to be cool once she went off the set, but I also wasn't going to blow up her world over it because, like, I know what I signed up for. It'd be a complete hypocrisy to be like, I know you're an active performer, and I'm going to get upset that you're going to work.
That is totally fair, especially when you watch it. Like, the visuals and the understanding of what's happening is like very hard to disconnect from.
Well, and it's just, you know, when you get into relationships with people, it's like, you know, you want to be like, my so-and-so, like, that's my person. Like, you have to disconnect the physical act of sex from like emotional intimacy. Like, for me, I don't think I can do polyamory because polyamory implies that we're all sharing the emotional connection. Like, fuck who you want. Like, if we're open on a physical level, that's cool. But I can't deal with if you're not coming home to me.
Yeah, I can resonate with that. I think open relationships are a lot more fun and easier to navigate than poly relationships.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm like, I'm not knocking anybody who can hold it down. Like, I'm not knocking Michael Jordan for being able to slam dunk. It's just not something I'm capable of doing.
That's totally fair. Yeah.
And that's the thing. You got to realize your limitations in this world. Like, it's unfair to get involved in someone else's poly relationship because that's where you want to be. Because it's like, oh, I want to date you. I want to be with you. But the only way I can do that is be in this polyamorous relationship. If you're not down for it, you shouldn't do it. Like, you shouldn't lie to yourself. You shouldn't hurt other people's fucking feelings.
That's true. At the same time, the plot of like every major film in the world would be much easier if we didn't have like the romantic dilemma between 2 or 3 different people as a major plot line. Like, if the love triangle was just easily solved by, all right, you can fuck both of them, preferably at the same time, preferably as like a double teaming, like Eiffel Tower situation, then I think movies would be a lot more fun, personally.
I mean, they would be definitely different movies.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, and
they'd be porn movies.
They would be. Well, and it's crazy when you look at the average rom-com. Like, some innocent person always gets shit on in those movies. Mm-hmm. Like, in a lot of cases, the existing partner in the love triangle is not a bad person. They're like very rarely like an abusive piece of shit that the audience is like, oh yeah, you should definitely leave that dude. They're like some poor innocent bystander that the leads are like, yep, your feelings don't matter. We're out. It's so fucked up. It's so fucked up.
Oh, it's true. It's very true.
Like, one that comes to mind is Serendipity with John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale. Where, like, they meet on chance, like, go on a great date and then go their separate ways, and then they're both fucking engaged when they reconnect. Like, both of their fiancés are good people, and then they just fucking leave them.
That's so crazy. It's just like, keep fucking everyone. Like, keep fucking everyone. Have more sex, have more orgasms. That's,
right?
That's my stance, personally.
I'm all for that, but if that was a real life situation, it's like, that's fucked up no matter how you do it, because, like, everyone's fucking, but, like, their original fiancés have, like, emotional expectations on, like, no, but...
Right. I have a theory on why Americans are so rigid about monogamy and the idea of, like, one partner forever, and I think it's because we are so fixated on the idea of property rights. Like, because we're told, like, in our, Constitution, and like we want a house, we want our property. We're like, this is my property. I defend it with my guns, and that is what it means to be an American. I think that people have that same mentality when it comes to their partners.
No,
like, this is my lady, and yeah.
I 100% agree. And then I'll give you the added part of popular culture shows women as the prize for being the protagonist of your story.
Yeah.
So you're like, I'm here to defend my property rights. That's my property because I'm the protagonist of this story. So I'm entitled to this shit. Because once again, as I said earlier in the show, all of this pop culture is just the imagination of someone else who wrote it. It's not real. Right.
Right. I mean, and who's usually writing it,
Honestly, I'm amazed there's not more porn with, like, super ugly dudes and really hot girls. Because then, like, your average porn consumer could be like, that's right. If that dude could bang her, I could bang her.
Oh, man. I feel bad for the guys in porn. It seems like such a... I've loved working with all of my male co-stars, but all of the camera angles and stuff are so focused on the women. It seems having to be the machine in the context seems like less fun than... oh,
yeah. There's a reason I've never wanted the job.
Yeah.
Like, when I first started working in the industry, like, of course, like, all my dudes, like, were like, oh my God, dude, you're gonna be fucking a porn star. I'm like, nope, no, I am not. I have zero desire, because you are a prop. As a male talent, you are a prop to make you look good. That is your job. Like, it's not necessarily to have enjoyable sex. It is to be a prop to make the female talent look good and pop on command. To get it up for someone you may not be sexually attracted to. Someone who in some situations, maybe just flat out aggressive towards you in between takes. It's happened. I mean, you hear stories.
Man, I've had really.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's definitely people that just don't
awful.
vibe. That just don't vibe. Where like, one or the other of them just there's no connection. Or like the minute cuts called, like they're pulling out their phones. They're not interested in. It happens. It's not
That's
every
a
time.
bummer.
It is a bummer, but it's the reality of being male talent. Not everyone you work with is going to be into you. You're not going to be into everyone you work with. And to do the job right, you got to be able to get it up and keep it up on command. Make whoever you're working with look like a fucking star. And make it look convincing. And that's not a job that everyone can do.
I mean, I hope to personally make it an easy job for everyone to do. I've had the pleasure of working with really wonderful people so far, but I think that maintaining like good energy between takes is important. It's like, why stop fucking the second they turn the camera off? That just totally ruins the energy of the scene. Like, I don't know.
I agree.
I don't know.
I agree, but
Like,
that's not everyone.
Yeah.
Because you're 2 weeks in. Did anyone take you to a training class and be like, welcome to Porn 101? No.
I didn't need it. I've had, once again, the most surprising thing about the porn industry to me has been how fucking vanilla everyone is. Like, I think I've done so many more ridiculous things off camera than I will probably ever be asked to do on camera. But
that's also the exception, not the rule. There are so many people that are 18 and just like, I want to get in.
Yeah.
And you're given very little guidance. Like, you were signed with a reputable agency.
Yes.
How many people get into this industry not represented or represented by like some fly-by-night fucking agency that aren't given very little guidance? And it's not in that fly-by-night's agency's best interest to give them fucking guidance.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's the nature of this, formally outlaw industry. Is like the average porn career lasts 6 months. In my time, I was working for a lot of people that were top tier when I got in. They've been gone for years for one reason or another. People find their Captain Save-A-Ho, they leave. They get shot out. They get bored.
Get married,
they get married. There's 100 reasons people leave this industry. They just realize that, like, it can be a fucking lonely place because of the hurdles of fucking dating in this industry. And just, they get lonely. And they're just like, you know what? Fuck this, I'm out. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. And it's not necessarily in producers' best interest to try to retain talent.
I've heard that, and it is sad. That's for sure.
It is sad, but it's also a business.
I fucking love everything that I'm doing, and I just really want to be good at it.
If mainstream kept calling and like it was right around the time that you wanted to go to Harvard, which way would you go?
I mean, I can always go to Harvard. Yeah.
So you do the mainstream first, do those,
Yeah, I think people who are, the nerdy answer to that is the later you go to law school in your career, the more successful you are in law school, and then the faster you get to the top of a law firm or activist platform, etc. But I don't know. I want to have fun first.
I mean, for fuck's sake, we're in California. You don't actually have to go to law school to be a lawyer here.
It's true. I think you can clerk with a federal judge. That's what Kim Kardashian is doing right now. She's clerking with a federal judge in order to skip law school and go straight to the bar exam.
Actually, in California, you could work for a law office for 3 years. You only have to clerk with a federal judge and go take the bar. I know, because I had a whole cockamamie scheme to get the party lawyer to move from Illinois to here, take the California bar, and then me hang out with him for 3 years, and then take the bar myself, just for the fuck of it.
Oh, you'd be great at it. Yeah.
Wow.
If you can handle a podcast, you're going to handle law clients for sure. If you can handle being the roadie for dramatic porn stars at the AVNs, you could handle working with people in legal situations for sure.
For the audience, Jamie has known me for an hour and 30 minutes. And she's already making this assumption.
That is not true. I have heard over probably 40 hours of your podcast.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. How'd you feel when you found out I got chlamydia?
Everyone in this industry does. It's not a big deal. It's like getting a cold.
Exactly. It is the porno flu. Like,
yeah. It's not a big deal. It's also, I think porn stars actually have a lot better sexual health practices than a lot of people in the real world.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
If you're getting tested every 2 weeks and you're mostly having sex with a pretty insular group of people that is already getting tested, then like even if somebody catches something, then yeah.
Oh no, 100%. I've said this multiple times on air that I am more of a threat to performer partners I have than they are to me, which is also a weird stigma. Also a weird stigma when I do date civilians who are like, I can't believe you fuck dirty porn stars. I'm like, whoa. You are much bigger of a risk. Like the last one who said that to me, I'm like, I know you had unprotected sex with someone else 2 weeks ago, and I'm certain you didn't have a test in between us.
Yeah. It's like, no, I got a clean, we got a clean license. It's fine. We're fine.
Right.
It's the rest of the world that's fucking up. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's crazy that the stigma is still there.
I will say, while I was in Vegas, going to the like testing clinic every couple days for, we typically do it for like STD panels for safety of industry. But we've also been doing that really frequently for COVID. So at 7:30 in the morning, every major porn star in Vegas is at talent testing. And I feel like I've met some of the coolest people standing in line for COVID tests, which is really just a benefit to me. Like that's how I met Xander Corvus. I was like, holy shit. Like I'm just chatting with this person whose work I'm very familiar with. Just in line to
I've
get
seen your dick, dude.
Tests. Yeah. yeah. Yeah.
Well, and Xander's great people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know he is clean and sober these days. I miss drinking with him. I do. I will always say that. It is better for him that he stopped drinking, but I miss drinking with him.
Understandable. You gotta substitute it. Just do like a fuck ton of coffee. Like, yeah.
Not the same, but
not the same.
It's okay. Like I recognize that is a selfish desire on my part and not, good for my friend.
That's for sure. I am all for drug decriminalization because I think people should have complete control over everything that goes in their body, like chemical, sexual, whatever, at all times. But part of drug decriminalization is giving people the tools to do it safely and healthfully, and that's not always possible. So
I agree. I am all for, you should be able to put whatever you want in your body as long as it doesn't negatively affect others. Now, if you've made the choice to have a monogamous spouse and a family, well, you may want to reconsider what you're putting in your body because it does negatively affect other people at that point. But if you're like, I'm a single dude and I'm going to fucking do this rail, fall down a K-hole, maybe wake up in a couple days, that's on you, bro. Like, have fun.
Are you saying that housewives shouldn't be doing ketamine? I don't.
Well, I'm saying if they're doing it together, that's fine. That's well and good. But if you're like leaving her at home and she doesn't know what you're up to, like there's no agreed upon social contract there, that's negatively affecting someone. Like if one of you's a junkie,
the Don Drapers of the world,
right. Like if one of you's a junkie and one of you's not, that's a problem. If you're both like taking hits off the crack pipe together, cool. You're both signed up for this.
I do think that, in my ethos of like substance landscape, I think that it is nice when you are in common company to be on the same wavelength. In our society, when one person's drinking, another person's often drinking. And so you're on that same like slightly wavy dimension. And I think that's nice in the psychedelic world as well.
I agree. Last time I did mushrooms, like, I was having a blast, but I'm like, man, I really wish like I had someone on the couch like to experience this euphoric feeling with.
It's no fun without other people. Like you want someone to take on the journey. It's like, okay, we're on this little Lord of the Rings journey. I'm a hobbit, you're a hobbit.
It's time for second breath, this motherfucker.
Yeah. It's no fun alone.
No, it's not.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But you gotta find the weirdo that connects with you on that. Like you can't just be like, day one.
Exactly.
Hey, by the way, like, I'm gonna get wildly fucked up. I hope you're down with this. Like, you gotta figure it out. You can't bum rush someone with that one.
That's for sure. That's for sure. I mean, it's just like weird kinky sex stuff. It's like you can't.
You gotta ease in. You can't.
You can't do like vampire play on the first date. It's like,
No, you definitely can't peg someone on the first date unless like it's explicitly talked about beforehand.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of another thing I've been thinking about the porn industry is like coming from the kink world. Like you show up on like date one and you do like a list of like things I'm into, things I'm not into, things I'm kind of into. Like, let's talk this out. And I really think that the porn industry should implement that. I think it would be both effective and fun for scenes and also hot if people like sat down and were like, yes, pull my hair, or like, yes, choke me out. Like, that's hot. I'm into that. Let's do that for the scene, but don't lick my feet. Like that was like if people had that parameter and like sat down and talked about what they're turned on by, I think that porn would be a little crazier and happier for everyone. I don't know.
It would be. I think that would more work for like OnlyFans content because
True.
like when you show on a set, they have an idea of what the scene's going to be. But
it's true.
What's been really good, like in my tenure in the industry, companies like Gamma have started adding to their 2257 paperwork of like what the no's are, which is important. Is fucking important. Back in the day, that you'd never see that on 2257 paperwork. You'd never see like, don't spit in my mouth, don't slap me, don't like whatever it is. Now it's clearly spelled out like these are the no's.
That's great. Yeah.
It's amazing. Like we as an industry with no fucking outside regulation are taking steps forward. It's fucking important. Like that we're actually adapting with the fucking times.
Absolutely. The more of that, the better, honestly.
100%.
If you know what you shouldn't do, then you know what you can do, and then you can go crazier with the stuff that you can do, which is fun.
Exactly. As long as it's within the pretext of the scene. Like, because all of a sudden, like, if the pizza guy chokes you unconscious, like, what just happened here?
I mean, I always want my pizza guys to choke me unconscious.
How much do you tip on getting choked unconscious?
I don't know, like an extra 40, I don't know.
How many pizzas are you ordering that you're tipping $40? Jesus, like...
I'm a very sexual person, I don't know.
Man, I can't wait till you are fucking filthy rich because you just throw away money. Like I'm looking to be your leech. I'm just putting that out there. I'm just gonna leech off you. I'm sorry.
No, I'm in.
Oh my god.
I hope I can be successful enough that I can be the person with the mansion who's letting all their friends crash. That's the dream.
Well, I'm in. Well, we have a new studio coming up in a couple of years when Jamie makes it real, real big. Like we're just gonna build a new studio. I'm just gonna podcast from her house. It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. If I become Sasha Grey, then everyone can podcast from my house and sleep on my couch.
Not everybody. I'm jealous. So like, just the sex can go wherever. Like, no, only one podcaster. Like,
okay, we got one podcaster. We got one bar. Yeah.
Oh no, we need multiple bars. Like, what is this communist Russia? One bar. I don't agree with that. Not one bit.
Fair.
Have you made it outside of the U.S.? Because like one of the other things I love to talk about with performers, everything is international travel, because I feel that more people need to experience more of the world than just the States. You don't really get a grasp of like empathy for other people and just what the world's really about till you travel to other places.
I agree with that. I don't have a lot of international travel under my belt yet. Although I will say that, one of my first conversations in the industry was I asked a Russian co-star, I was like, what is your experience in the industry like? And she was like, well, if you travel to Prague, you do a lot of anal. So I now know when I do embark on international travel to never ever go to Prague.
Oh, you don't want to shoot for legal porno and get like 4 dicks in your ass? Like,
I don't know. I'm pretty I don't know. We'll see. Ask me in a couple years.
I mean, Charlotte's a very tiny person.
This is true. Charlotte is the bravest person. I have been, I know everybody says like it's ridiculous to watch porn for the plots, but she and Lance's dialogue is like the cutest, like most like endearing, hot aspect of her videos, and I think that she's just incredible and charming in every way.
She is.
And the fact that she could you know, perform that sort of crazy sex act just gives me mass amounts of respect towards her. So.
Charlotte can do whatever she wants, and she could just able to. It's amazing. It's like this defies like time, space, and physics, but it's somehow happening. Golf clap for that.
All about it.
So, have you made it anywhere outside the States, or?
I went to Costa Rica, which was pretty cool.
How was that? Like, just what'd you do?
Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time having sex, so there's
Surprise!
I was traveling with one of the many boyfriends in my like ongoing binder of boyfriends that I have at all times.
Okay. We can't walk away from that. The binder of boyfriends. So,
binders on binders. Yeah.
Okay, like, are you just chewing dudes out and spitting them out like they're gum? Like, how's this roll?
No. It's one of the many dimensions of friendship for me. I just feel like a really good friend is someone who you can also fuck for 12 hours.
I mean, I hope you hydrate during that, but.
Oh yeah, you take wine breaks periodically. Wine and whiskey. Yeah.
Proper. So, like, what are relationships like? Where you just, like, oh, this is just an extension of our friendship, or?
I mean, everything under the sun. I'm also like, I don't know what the standards are in the industry on being honest about this, but like, I'm very bisexual, so like, I date women too, and so the range of what a relationship is to me is just a ridiculously widespread. But I don't know. I'm a hedonist. I love people. I love sex. I love genuine connection and doing substances and having crazy times with people. I like flirting and making out with people are like my favorite activities in the whole world. So.
And it should be almost everyone's.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, once again, like binders on binders, I just think that as many people as you can have a good time with as possible is the way to do it.
I don't disagree, but do you ever get lonely for like someone to be a primary?
I don't know.
I mean, you don't have to know. Like,
honestly, I feel privileged to be, I'm surrounded by enough beautiful people that, that's what I want.
Hey, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, no judgment. Don't, I'm just curious. Because, someone who's, occasionally like, I'm like, oh yeah, no, a primary would be nice. And then I'm generally there for like an hour, and I'm like, nope, this is a mistake.
Fair.
And like, no one should be judged by, oh, this is the heteronormative, like, we have to pair off and pump out 2.5 children and have a white picket fence.
Oh, no, I'm very against the white picket fence. Absolutely not.
2.5 children,
no fences.
Those are okay. Because, like, half a kid's hilarious. You got to figure out what side you want. Did you get the top half or the bottom half? Or I don't know where I'm going with this. That's one of the things that, like, we as a society should move forward to is, like, everyone being accepting of whatever everyone else's choice is, as long as no one is getting hurt in it. Intentionally hurt. Because unfortunately, because of human interaction, hurt happens. We've all been there. Like,
it's true.
It'd be impossible to be like, oh yeah, nobody gets hurt. Like, nope. Without fail, someone has expectations that aren't met, or
right.
100 other things that go sideways and someone ends up getting hurt. But as long as you're not being malicious about it.
That's my take. That is my take. Yeah.
Do any of the members of the binder ever get weird? Does anyone like, Jamie, I want to wife you up?
Oh, it's happened. I've been proposed to a couple times. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Obviously. I mean, I give good head, so,
Obviously. Like, this is just like a matter of fact, like, death, taxes, and Jamie getting proposed to. These are all the inevitable things in life. Yeah,
it's like, you could set a clock by it.
Oh, yeah. Am I interrupting the current proposal for today? Like, do we have to cut this short?
I don't know. Let me check the clock. It's not 5 yet, so no.
Oh, they proposed at happy hour? Interesting.
Yes. I don't believe in the institution of marriage. I don't believe in property rights, and I don't believe in eternal monogamy. And like my values and desires like don't align with perfect American monogamy. So I think that there's got to be a better way to do it, and so I ended up in the poly scene.
Well, I also don't think perfect American monogamy really exists, except for people that are repressing themselves.
I mean, I agree that I think it's people who are repressing themselves somewhat. And I also, one of my greatest influences is Dan Savage, who runs a podcast. Are you familiar?
A little bit.
Familiar at all?
A little.
He runs like a sex and relationship advice podcast, and he's been talking forever about like being the idea of being like monogamish, which is where, you have like a person, but everybody's pretty chill when something happens outside the relationship. And I think that's just like consistent with what I understand of human psychology and sociology. It's like, we're always going to want to fuck like the girl with the really nice titties in the room. We all are. I will too. So yeah.
I'm all down for LA monogamous. Use condoms with everyone but your primary.
Yeah, absolutely.
As much as everyone jokes about it, is like actually a real thing. Like just almost everyone I know is like, yep. That's my primary. So like we raw dog, but everyone else is like, we use condoms. It's cool. We're monogamous. Also how I got chlamydia, but
it happens.
It does. No big deal. So I talk about it on air and I laugh about it. Like my audience has heard this multiple times, but like my biggest beef about that whole situation was that my primary didn't take ownership of the situation.
That's not great.
No,
that is not great.
Why I stopped sleeping with her.
You should. Like that is the thing, is like honesty is the most important thing in
well, yeah,
all ethical relationships and friendships. Yeah.
Yeah, when I pissed dirty, I immediately hit her up. I'm like, yo, you need to get tested. Like, I came back dirty. And her immediate response was like, you obviously fucked someone else. It wasn't me.
That's not great.
I'm like,
hate
cool.
to see it.
Have a good life.
Yeah. No.
Like, not upset that this happened. We were agreed upon non-monogamous. Your lack of ownership in the situation, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially like in this industry, like, it's extra important. If it's important to everyone's job,
100%.
Well, be ethical about it.
In honesty, if you're having multiple partners, like, and you're an active performer, you really shouldn't be sleeping with civilians, like, because they're just a fucking wild card.
Well, after having sex with several porn stars, I don't know why I ever would.
I don't know. Yeah, I got no good reasons. I got no good reasons why you should. Maybe someday someone will figure out that puzzle. Like, well, maybe, no. I off the top of my head, I have no good reasons, except, nope, nothing. Zero. Zilch. Just fuck other talent.
I agreed, yeah. I think it helps with the art, too. Like, if you're attracted to someone on set, I think it really helps to lean into that.
100%.
Ultimately, it's better art, yeah.
100%, because obviously a scene is much hotter when it looks like both people are into each other.
Yeah. I will say the most magical moment in porn so far was showing up for the scene. It's already been released, so I can talk about it. With Naughty America, when I showed up, had no idea what was going to happen, and the spectacular director just like, I showed up and he handed me a Halloween costume. He was like, all right, you were at a Halloween sex party with like these two other like stunning female actors, and you were sharing your boyfriend Alex Mack with Spencer Bradley and Sandra Lubrick. And I was like, number one, this is what I do in my personal life, and number two, these are the most beautiful people I've ever seen, and this was the best day of my life.
Oh, I love Sandra and Spencer like that.
Yeah.
Like, man, that's a moral conflict for me, because I don't watch scenes with my friends in them. So it's like,
yeah, that's fair.
I kind of want to watch that scene, but I also don't want to watch that scene. Like, Oh. It's like, damn it.
It is in VR, so I will say that, like, unless you have an Oculus, it's probably
it's probably lost on me.
It's still watchable, but it's the true experience is really not felt unless you have an Oculus and you have like everybody's titties in your face. So.
How about everyone else? Watch this scene, tell me how it is. I'm not going to watch this scene with like 3 people I know. I consider I know you now, so like.
Oh yeah, we're friends now. Yeah. For sure.
All right. Little do we know, like, if this was in person, we'd be cutting our palms and like, blood bonding at this point. So.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we would blood. It is
Jamie still laying there was like, wait, what's happening now? What have I signed up for? My agent totally didn't tell me about this. Just fucking with you.
Oh, you've never done a blood pact?
Maybe. But please, audience, let me know how that scene is, because I'm not going to watch it. I'm not. Unless someone involved is like, Matt, you have to watch this. Like, you have to watch it. Otherwise, well, that just came across like I'm just asking one of my friends to tell me to watch the scene.
Everyone's going to at you after this.
Matt,
you have to watch it.
You have to watch it.
Yeah. If anyone listening is looking for it, though, it's on naughtyamerica.com. It is the party girls scene that starts on a party bus and ends up in a gay hotel penthouse. So it's pretty sexy. Pretty sexy. This is the one that I was talking about that had a smoke machine involved. So
this one is definitely art. It is not just for fapping.
Yeah. It is. No, it's for both. It is for both.
Well, that's what I said. Not just for fapping. Not just for fapping.
Exactly right. This is mainstream art, right? This is one that blurs that line between pornography and art.
Exactly. Jamie, Can you hold on the fort for like 20 seconds, because the whiskey is running through me.
Me too.
All right, let's
time out.
Bio break.
Time out.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back.
I'm back.
Hello. Well, we just had a refreshing bio break. I think we just emptied our bladders because alcohol.
How full was that bottle when we started?
I would have to consult the camera. I could not tell you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I am pouring more myself, so.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Is it an acceptable? I think it's 3:30 in the afternoon now, so we can drink.
It's 6:30 in DC. We're good.
It is 6:30 in DC. Yep. And they're all doing coke, so.
Well, we're not doing that on camera.
Oh, of course. Mm-hmm.
We're in California. That would not be proper.
Oh no, I was speaking to the loose morals of our elected leaders.
Oh yeah, the hypocrisy of our elected leaders.
Right.
Unfortunately, one day maybe they'll just be like, "Yep, doing rails." I think that was one of the best things about Obama was the fact that he was just like, "Yeah, I fucking inhaled."
Absolutely, it's just a point of respect at this point.
Who in their right mind believed Bill Clinton was like, I took a puff, but I did not inhale?
Yes. Yeah, especially considering...
It's like playing just the tip. Like, oh, come on, I'm just going to stick the tip in. Like, no one has ever just stuck the tip in. Not once.
Right.
No.
Right. I'll say I am the governor of California right now, who's, and I think a very charismatic individual, when he was in his earlier political career, had a lot of personal shenanigans going on, including, cocaine and sex with his campaign manager's wife while he was mayor of San Francisco. So the fact that he hasn't loosened regulations on substances or sex work for anyone else is a little bit disappointing.
It is. Well, that's probably because he's thinking about his political career now, about what's right.
Right? It's like it seemed like it was all right for you when you were mayor of San Francisco, but all right.
For fuck's sake, Schwarzenegger, when he was governor, was like, yep, totally banged the fucking housekeeper, had a kid, and he was a Republican. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, everyone. Just deregulate it. Like, shit is not absolutely falling apart in Portugal. They're like, yep, countrywide. I'm
so glad you brought that up. You know that history. Cool. Yeah.
I know nothing. Don't believe the hype. Like I'm just a drunk with a microphone. I don't know shit.
For the audience, Portugal legalized drugs, or at least legalized some, decriminalized the rest.
Yeah.
So, and they've had excellent results.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, on one hand, I think we should actually go full legalization and taxation, because it would be a great tax base. Marijuana has proved that, Colorado, Oregon, even California are making so much fucking money off legal weed.
Yeah.
If you're like, hey, here's legal heroin, there'd be money to be made there too. Now, the problem is you got to get the balance of, because there's still a black market for weed because of so much taxation. It's the same reason moonshining still fucking happens. When you're like 40% tax on this fucking product, people are going to try to find another way, especially when they don't have to distill it. All they got to do is fucking grow it.
That is true. I've never encountered the moonshine market, but I believe it's out there.
Oh, I mean, 100% is. I mean, people are still doing illegal stills. It's not as prevalent as it was, like, obviously during Prohibition, but there are definitely still people making moonshine to avoid paying the fucking taxes on it. And that's why alcohol tax is not as prohibitive as marijuana taxes are. The other problem is, if we went on full legalization, is like, what kind of fucking bullshit hiccups would we get from the government on it? Like, it's not just like, oh, it's legal. There would always be, strings attached.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just like the fact that sex work is legal in Nevada, but, only at Bunny Ranch and only like under a very specific parameter of loopholes and taxes.
Well, I've talked about this on air before. Like, on paper, those regulations make sense. Like, hey, if you leave the brothel for over 24 hours, that you have to get retested makes sense. The problem is, in practice, that means that the brothel owners are like, you got to stay here for a minimum of 2 weeks because they're picking up the cost of your testing.
Right.
You got to figure out, how do we make legislation that makes sense, that isn't just overly restrictive, but still protects the public.
That is, I think, the trick. And I think that you really need more people who have done sex work, which I am not that person, but I know a lot of people who have. And it's like, we need more voices of the people who are doing this work and doing this labor, like making the laws. It's just like the fact that we have unions for auto workers making auto regulation laws. We should have sex workers weighing in on how to best regulate sex work. It's just common sense.
It is, but unfortunately, sex workers get pushed to the back of the bus.
Right.
When was the last time a sex worker testified in front of Congress or a state legislature?
I do think that the stigma towards people who are sex workers is something that really needs to be worked on in society.
It does, especially because of how prevalent it is that people consume sex work.
Exactly, yeah. It's a spectrum. I mean, I think OnlyFans is a form of sex work. I think porn occurs at the intersection point between acting and sex work. And I just, if we just broadened that definition and looked at it as destigmatize the whole industry, I think a lot of people would be better off for it, especially young women, LGBT people, a lot of the types of populations who are pushed into sex work for any reason because it's more lucrative than with the current federal minimum wage. I think all those people would benefit.
100%. And we don't want to see people get into sex work because it's a place of desperation.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
If it was decriminalized or legalized, more people would get into it because it's lucrative, not because they're desperate to do it. And that is the OnlyFans boom at the moment because COVID made people desperate.
Right.
And it's awesome that it's becoming more mainstream accepted, but it also sucks that it took a global pandemic and women being desperate to do it.
It's true. Although I've heard the point made that we are only a few years away from all of our political candidates having a backlog of nudes out from when they've been sending them through college and grad school in their early careers, because everyone nowadays takes like naked photos themselves and produces content. Essentially, that, hopefully like 20 years down the road, all of our presidential candidates will have had nudes out from when they were 24 and no one will care.
Oh, shit, I can still run for president. My dick's not out there.
Yeah, you could.
I mean, and if AOC's nudes happen to get released ethically, I'm all about them.
I was hearing the discourse between you and Xander about whether or not it's ethical to make AOC porn. And
I tweeted at her about it. She didn't respond. I tweeted at her multiple times about it. No response.
Damn. I guess it's the same question as like if it's ethical to make Ted Cruz porn. Like the answer should be the same.
I mean, if that's what gets you off, I'm not here to judge.
I will say that, if someone calls me like senator or like Madam President during sex, I'm definitely not turned off. So.
But representative does. I get it. Like, you only higher stations for you.
Only the higher stations. Like, I think I would take Congresswoman, but that's pushing it. I think I really like Senator Jamie or like
Senator Jett. No one refers to
Senator Jett is hot. Yeah.
Senator Jett, can I come? May I come, Senator Jett?
I would, that is not usually my role in the sexual world, but if someone wants to call me senator on a porn set, I'm all about it.
I mean, you guys could definitely set it up like a full-on, like, Man, that'd be a obnoxious set to build, though.
God, I will say that on my bucket list, I want to have sex in the Oval Office at least once in my life.
Well, hopefully not with the next
So
couple of
lofty goal, but I'm
occupants.
shooting for it. No. No. Wait until we have some cute presidents.
Right? What does Kamala do it for you?
Kamala helped write Fosta Sesta. So I have some personal distaste for.
Well, what you should do is, you should
her.
edge her and just leave her high and dry.
Fair.
Yeah, that was actually one of my big beefs with like her run for the president and then her vice presidency. It was like, yep, this is one of the people that helped write this fucking bill.
I've been anti-Fosta Sesta since the day it was passed. It's just such a ridiculously written piece of legislation, and it is crazy that even the people who say that they stand for the rights of women and marginalized women are still pushing forward with this bill, because just statistically speaking, ever since Fosta Sesta made it a lot harder to advertise online for clients, population of people who do like in-person like client sex work has had to move back to like a by the streets model, which is a whole lot less safe for everyone involved.
100%. You can vet clients, then pimps get involved.
Yeah, I had a dear friend in college who used to use Backpage before Fosta Sesta was passed, and went back to a pimp for the first time in her life after Backpage was shut down, because there just wasn't any other way to do it, and it was really tragic and scary. And I think that one of the big political pushes that I will be public about, in my acting persona under my stage name, is that we need to repeal Fosta Sesta, because it is not doing any good for anyone.
No, it's just harming people.
It's just harming people. Yeah.
Yeah, it may help a couple of lives, but it's harming. The bad is wildly outweighing the good.
No, sex trafficking is a fucking horrendous crime against humanity, and we need to be fighting that with everything that we have. But equating all sex work to sex trafficking does more damage to the exact types of people who you're trying to help.
Right. So, if you just decriminalize sex work, the people that are being trafficked could attempt to contact law enforcement without fear of being arrested, thrown in prison, deported.
Yeah.
And then you provide a safe working environment for the people that are consensually doing this.
That is exactly right. We need to repeal Fosta Sesta and then start to work on decriminalization of, at least at the state level, consensual exchange of any physical manual labor for money. It's like people do horrible things with their bone structure and back for construction sites. Sex work is not any different.
Oh hell, go be a coal miner.
Right? It's like that's a whole lot worse for your body. Ultimately,
right?
Yeah.
I totally get from back in the day, you didn't want promiscuous women, you didn't want sex work because STIs would kill you. They kill you. They kill whole swaths of the population. Syphilis would just wipe motherfuckers out. We have fucking vaccines and antibiotics. It is 2020. HIV isn't even a death sentence anymore. Not that I want anyone to get HIV, but it's not like, oh my God, I got HIV, I'm going to be dead in 5 years.
Right. And honestly, going from the civilian world of just people who have recreational sex to the porn world of very scripted, institutionalized sex. I think that, the model that we have for testing every couple weeks, if applied to the general population, if everyone was testing every 2 weeks, then humanity would be a whole lot better off. I mean,
even we went to the old school model of testing once a month, because, it used to be a 28-day test to try to fight some of the condom laws that eventually passed. That's when the industry went to the 14-day test. When I first got in, it was a 28-day test.
I've been learning about this history. Yeah.
So even a 28-day test, because the average civilian in maybe once every 6 months, maybe. And here in LA, you got no fucking excuse. You could go to any of the LA County clinics and get tested for free. Literally just walk in and be like, I would like a test, please. Yeah, you're not going to get 24-hour results.
Expensive venture, yeah.
I would totally get the hesitation if you had to file an insurance claim and potentially pay out of pocket for every fucking test. The fact that performers are paying, what's the standard panel, $140 something right now?
$200.
Up to $200. Oh yeah, because COVID shit. Up to $200.
No, it's 200 for STDs. It's 35 for COVID. Yeah.
Okay. It'd been a hot minute since I've gone
Yeah.
through
Mm-hmm.
talent tested because I'm not a performer. Like I
Fair.
would only go get
That's
talented.
fair.
I'd only get tested at talent testing right before AVN because it's like, here's my my screen, like because shit happens. But otherwise, I just go through the county and get it done for free. No one's expecting to drop 200 every fucking 2 weeks, but you can fucking get tested for free, and it's irresponsible not to.
The world should do it. Yeah, it should be easy. We should have a testing clinic in every corner. Yeah. For that and COVID right now, I think the diversification of healthcare access and making those services available for people. Like the porn industry has proven that you can COVID test everyone involved in a project every 2 days of the week for a relatively low cost, and everyone's fine. Like if porn can do it, like why can't everyone do it?
I mean, I'm still the personal opinion that it's still pretty risky. Just because, like, the difference between the STI tests and COVID tests are, you make a conscious choice to sleep with someone else offset. You don't necessarily make a conscious choice to be in an environment where you could get infected with COVID. Like, you could just be like, I'm going to the grocery store to pick up my fucking, my food and my prescription for something else and get infected. So
that's also fair.
I've been a little critical about how fast the industry went back to work, but I understand that, like, no one's giving us PPP loans. No one in a lot of cases are giving you PUA fucking coverage. People got to fucking eat. Risk versus reward. Like, I'm going to have to take this slightly risky proposition and do it the best way I can so I'm not fucking homeless. I get it. Mm-hmm. It's just how it is. Because unfortunately, our federal government, the SBA, says, I don't care if you're an LLC. I don't care if you're an S-Corp. You don't qualify for a small business loan because you're a sex worker.
One of the things that we haven't been talking about in the story of what's been going on during COVID is like what happens for people in those industries. Like, I know that, I mean, if we're just talking about legal sex work, I know that there are a lot of women who do strip club dancing and, in-person performance-based events that are really suffering, and you cannot get a small business loan as a stripper. And I think that's a fucking tragedy.
And before people like, oh my God, fuck Trump on this, that was an outstanding SBA rule. That was not a Trump administration. How the Trump administration didn't do shit to help it.
Right.
But you can't be like, oh, fuck Trump on this one. Like, as much as I'm not that dude's fan, this was pre-existing. But it's still fucked. You are not committing a crime. I understand with our current set of laws, if they're like, yeah, you can't get a small business loan to be a drug dealer.
Fair.
Like that,
and you can to be an investment banker.
Yeah, which honestly hurts more people in a lot of cases.
Right.
Toxic fucking mortgages before the bubble burst definitely negatively affected a lot more people than your average drug dealer. Being a stripper, being a porn performer, these are all legally protected jobs. There is no reason that they can't get SBA loans or at least be covered under the PUA to get that fucking bailout. Except for puritanical bullshit.
It's awful. It's absolutely awful.
And the fucked up part about it is, I'm sure if a strip club was set up the proper way, that their parent corporation could get the PPP loan. So, like, how hypocritical is that? Like, oh, hey, we're a strip club proprietor, but, on the books we're a nightclub conglomerate or something. We can get this shit. But the person who's actually out there shaking their ass can't. What the fuck?
I mean, it's a labor issue, ultimately. It's
America doesn't have a shortage of those. Shit.
Yeah, we do. We really do.
Yeah, between, at-will states and...
Yeah, I don't want to compare porn to regular manual labor, but, like, what I do should not be worth, like, 7 times what, like, an average person does in the day,
Well, no one should be making minimum wage. Like, the fact that, like, if you're making minimum wage and I order something and I tip you 10%, like, that I've almost effectively doubled your hourly wage is fucked.
Right. It's super fucked. It's also, the tip industry is just bad for everyone. Like,
except the
men get tipped less. Well, that's the thing. It's like men get tipped less. Pretty girls get tipped more, but at the expense of, like, dealing with awful sexual harassment often. So it's really, everyone loses. It's like men make less money and women put up with more bullshit.
100%. And like, this is something I don't know if I've talked about on air, but like, that's a problem with the previous generation. Like, because I was definitely encouraged by my father to like hit on waitstaff that was being polite to me, not even necessarily flirty, like polite to me. Like somewhere in the previous generation that like, oh, a woman's being polite with you, you should ask her for her number. Like, no, she's doing her fucking job. And that's something I didn't realize that was fucking wrong until like my mid-20s. Till I had friends that were like female friends in the service industry, like, oh, I can't believe that creep wouldn't leave me alone. I'm like, oh shit. Connection, like, that's unwanted. You're at work, you can't fucking leave. I came to that realization. How many people don't?
I wish more of the world was more like you.
Oh, this would be a wild place if it was. But that's the problem. Like, we as men, as part of like the toxic masculinity thing, is like, we don't express or know to tell our sons, like, hey, that's not cool. That person is stuck at work and has to put up with the bullshit. Cannot just walk off the job because you're giving her a hard time about trying to ask for her number and shit.
Yeah. I just think that there's like, I think Americans in particular lack an understanding of how to flirt and come on to someone in a way that's genuinely sexy and enjoyable. I think, hitting on the waitress, not the way to go. I think that there are a million ways to approach someone that are interesting and fascinating and fun and sexy. And like, that is what we should be teaching like our sons and daughters is like, no, don't hit on the waitress. Like, engage people in these other ways. Like,
I agree. And we just need to teach people how to read the fucking room. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Don't just be like, put your desires out there and like just project your desires. Like, no. Try to be empathetic. Try to like actually absorb what's going around you. Like, yes, 100%. Like, there's been times where a server has actually been flirting with me. But 99.9% of the times, they were doing their fucking job. And you have to, like, try to be able to determine that. And, like, if that means not taking your shot because you can't tell the difference, don't take your fucking shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Once again, that comes back to, like, the bullshit of you're the protagonist in your story and you're owed sex, you're owed your princess. And just because your princess is wearing hot pants and a Hooters shirt doesn't make it true.
That is for sure. I think that an opinion that I've always had that I think I probably take from the kink scene and from like the very like sexually communicative scene is that the debate around, in the modern era, as people have been talking about the need to like obtain consent more, people complain, well, it's not sexy when you have to like stop and ask, like, can I kiss you? And I think if there's one thing I could tell, everyone in America who's currently grappling with that is like, no, that does not need to be a thing that reduces the sexual tension in a room. You can say things like, what would you do if I like pushed you up against the wall and made out with you right now? And like, what would you do if I took you upstairs and fucked you? And those are opportunities for people to voice consent or non-consent that are like sexy and fun. And if people just framed it like that, then I think that that everyone would be a lot better off.
I agree.
Yeah.
We also just need to get out of people's heads that like,
yeah,
consent is unsexy, because I've definitely been with partners in recent memory who have flat out communicated to me, I don't like it when a guy asks. I'd rather he do it and then like we talk about it after. I'm like, okay. I definitely like full on slapped a partner like while I was inside her, because that's what she expressed to me, and then she was not into it. I'm like, well,
that's the thing is, if you talk about it beforehand, it's like, well, I want to do this hot, sexy, naughty thing to you. Like, what would you do? And if they're like, 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 yes, like if they're turned on by it, then you do it. And if you don't, if they're not, then you don't. And it's,
it was just one of those things. Like, she flat out told me, like, it turns me off when a guy asks for permission. I'm like, okay, this is what you told me.
Everyone's different.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Everyone is different. There are no hard and fast rules. I would have much rather had that conversation beforehand. Like, are you okay with this? But if it's going to turn you off, like, I'm not going to have that conversation. Like, it's a lose-lose situation. We just need to break the stigma of asking.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing that the mainstream world could learn from the BDSM scene is like 50 Shades of Grey is pretty cheesy, but like in the real kink world, like people sit down and talk about like, this is what I don't want, this is what I do want. And once you know that information, then you have the freedom of license to do everything on their yes list in a really enthusiastic way. And you know, if you know you can slap someone in the face and spit in their mouth, then and you can like fucking go for it, then that's hotter, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the last thing you want is like to do something and then the recoil, like, oh my God, I can't believe you do that. Like,
Right.
I definitely went down on a partner that was on her period and she was kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. I'm like, sorry, my bad, I guess. Sorry, you're not into that. Like, I was trying to get you off. Like, this probably should have been a discussion beforehand.
Oh, good for you. You got your red wings. Yeah.
As I said on the episode with Xander, I'll pull a clot out of this fucking beard. I don't give a fuck.
Man, if you ever have a podcast with 4 people on it, you want to invite Xander and Charlotte, I would love to be on that episode.
I think we could probably make that happen.
I would love that. That would make my year.
I think what we'll do is we'll post-COVID try to do that in person in Vegas instead of like, I've told my audience this multiple times, like, the show must go on, but I hate I hate remote shows.
Right? Like it would be so much better to be like with you in a bar over a table recording that right now.
Right.
I wish. Yeah.
And we will definitely do it post-COVID.
Hell yeah.
Like, by that point, you will be ruling this fucking industry. I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe I got Jamie back on.
No.
She says that now. She's only 2 weeks in. She doesn't know.
Oh, you're freezing up a little bit there.
Nope.
Oh, there you are. Okay,
cool.
We're back. Cool.
Yeah. Jamie doesn't know.
Let me...
She doesn't know. She's only 2 weeks in. A year from now, I'll be like, Jamie, do you please want to do the show again, please? And she'll be like, if I got time for you, maybe. I'm so busy.
I'm having a great time. I will, even if I do get good at this, which I highly doubt, like,
You already got the right mindset. Like, one of the things that, like, I tell people that get into this industry, like, especially as in New York, that you have an exit strategy. Like, there is a ticking clock on being a performer in this industry.
Right.
Only the smallest percentage of people are able to do this for as long as they want. The Nina Hartleys, the Lisa Anns are the exception, not the fucking rule.
Right.
And so many people come into this industry fucking delusional that they think they can do this forever.
Right.
You've already expressed like, no, I got a plan. I got a plan post-shooting. It puts you ahead of the game.
Well, I also think that I have learned since I arrived in the industry that the age frames for porn are a little bit warped from what the age frames are in real life. Like, it's just like when you watch Hollywood movies and all of the women playing 16-year-olds are like 27. It's like porn seems to go from like you're a teen until you're 23, and then you're a MILF from 23 on, and I don't understand.
It depends if you get your tits done.
Right. Oh.
Right. If your tits are natural, you can still be a teen till like 28, depending on how you look.
Yeah.
Like, you could be 22 with fake tits and be like, you're a MILF now. It's just how it goes.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But you got a plan, which is, bravo to you for doing that. Like, a lot of people, as I said, a lot of people coming into this industry misguided and like don't have a plan. They think it'll fucking last forever.
I mean, would you want it to? Like, I don't know. I think porn is a go hard or go home thing. Like, I want to be like stellar at it. Like, I'm setting like a decade. Like, I want to do this for exactly 10 years and have as much fun as possible and do as many different types of scenes as possible with as many different like gorgeous, stunning people as possible. And then I want to go represent them in court. Like,
but people get addicted to the infamy. People get addicted to, all the aspects of it. Because there's other things that come with this job that besides the money and the box covers, there are things like you get access to things that are just, if you were just a stripper, you might not get access to backstage pass to the show. You may not get musicians, athletes sliding into your DMs wanting to do things for you.
I've slept with musicians and athletes. That's not
Well, it's not the sex of it. It's the backstage access, all the other intangible things that come with, and it can become addictive. I'm not saying it becomes addictive for everybody, but it definitely can. When you're like, the party will never end, and all of a sudden someone turns out the lights on you, you go, what the fuck just happened? Where you have the right mindset where you're like, the party's going to be over eventually. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with this hangover tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I mean, I also think that there's a real lack of interesting collections of stories from people who are in the porn world. I think that I'm recording all of the like ridiculous shit that happens on set so that I can put it in a book someday. So,
see, you're like 2 steps ahead of the game. You're like, that's right. I'm documenting this shit for a book, and I'm going to be a lawyer. Where,
I mean, I broke a casting couch, so that's got to be written down somewhere.
Holy shit! How'd you break a casting couch?
Cowgirl. Yeah, it was an IKEA couch. This was not like a really sturdy piece of infrastructure, but like I showed up on set, and I was just having a good day, and the couch broke, and we had to like do the rest of the scene. Like the couch broke mid scene, and we had to improvise and like pull some other furniture in, and we were like, all right, okay, this is a casting table now because Jamie broke the couch.
Oh, so. Fuck that. If I was directing that scene, I'd be like, no, we're doing this on the broken couch. Like, that's impressive. Like, why would you want to walk away from that?
And that's what I said. I was like, let's just keep fucking on the broken couch and leave that in. But I don't know if the company was about that.
They didn't make the couch. They're not the couch manufacturer. Why the fuck are they getting upset about a broken couch? Like, no, look how insatiable Jamie is. She broke a couch on what is her first time.
Oh, yeah, the casting couch scene said, I don't know if I should say this on air. Never mind.
Aw, you're gonna have to tell me off air on that.
Yeah, it is funny. I feel like I keep getting asked the same questions on set over and over, like, why did you get into this? And I have a million weird sex stories, so like I can just keep giving a different one every time. But like I'm like, do you want narrative continuity here? Like, do you want to know, like, are people going to be watching multiple of my casting couch scenes and being like, wait, she's giving inconsistent answers on the 3-way that got her into porn? So I don't know. It's very silly.
I think you should just keep making up stories, like just make them more outlandish as possible, and someone will slide in.
I don't need to make them up, man. Yeah, I don't even need to invent them. I got binders full of like sex toys.
I feel like you have binders on binders. Like I have binders of boyfriends, I have binders of sex toys, I have binders of sex scenes. Like it's just it's behind that background, just like a stack of binders. Is that just what it is happening behind?
Yes, that's what the background is for. It's to disguise all the binders.
Oh my God, guys. We figured out Jamie lives in a filing cabinet.
I do. I live in yep.
She's like, I'm a lawyer. Do you have clerks like filing your binders?
Mm-hmm. I have assistants all around me right now, pulling out binders. Mm-hmm.
Well, they're slacking. They haven't come and refreshed your drink once. You've had to pour your own alcohol. That's bullshit. You need new assistants, Jamie.
I need a new lady friend, you know.
Well, I wasn't implying that, but hey, I'm happy to help. So, ladies, slide in Jamie's DMs. She's new. She may be India. See?
I just think all women are beautiful, particularly women in the porn industry. I'm just like, I don't know. I can't say that enough. Like, even not in a bisexual way, I just think that like the women in this industry are incredible and beautiful and brave and smart. And I am, I've been in college for, almost 4 years with some like incredible smart people. And I think that I've met more smart women on porn sets than I have in college. Just so.
Yeah, you have to be pretty intelligent to survive in this industry, to thrive in it.
You really do. Yeah.
The ones that are unintelligent, who came under here under bad pretenses, don't last. Those are the ones that make it under 6 months.
I've heard that girls who are recruited don't last as long, and when I heard that, I was really excited because I reached out to my agency and like have been I'm constantly calling my wonderful people who are working with me on it. Like, can I do more? Can I do more important? So I hope that attitude, I've heard that attitude's a good thing.
For folks like you, 2 weeks in and you're already doing media. You are probably the first performer I've had this new to the industry on this show.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, most people like are into their career a little bit. They're like, oh shit, I got to go to other media outlets to help promote myself. You're 2 weeks in and already you're like, oh shit, I should be doing podcasts. I should be fucking like putting my brand out there. That is an exception, not the rule.
I had no idea, but this is a wonderful time. If I could just, chat industry politics and drink with interesting people all the time, that would be the dream job.
Whoa, right? Stop trying to steal my job. That's my gig.
Oh, no. I'm going to start a competing podcast now.
I'm going to take you. I'm not even going to air this. Holy shit.
I'll have you on my show.
Oh my God. Jamie will honor me with a spot on her show. Oh my God. I'm so fucking honored. She's going to try to placate me with a shot on her show. Oh my. And the worst part is, because she is much prettier than me, she's going to outperform me. Fuck.
No. The people are into beards now. Like, beards are really where it's at. It's like that's the trendy, sexy thing. I don't have one of those, so you're winning.
Flattery will get you everywhere. Flattery will get you every fucking where. But I don't get naked on the internet, which is also pretty popular.
Well, okay, I'll keep getting naked and you keep running your podcast.
Done. I will. Yeah, I'll pinky swear on you. If we were in person.
Pinky swear.
Pinky swear.
Pinky swear.
Jamie, is about that time we're going to call last call on this motherfucker.
All right.
This has been a goddamn pleasure. I probably could go for another hour or two with you.
Me too.
But yeah, we will do it again soon. But before we do that, where can they find you on all the things?
On all of the things? Well, I am on Twitter at Jamie Jett XXX. That is Jet with 2 T's, like my hero Joan Jett. And then I'm still very new to this, so I'm launching everything. But if you go to my Twitter, there's a link to everything else. I'm on Sex Panther right now because I think it's a much more personal way to interact with fans than OnlyFans, which I will be launching eventually. But I'm stockpiling lots of videos of me getting off before I launch that, so that when people subscribe, they'll have a lot of content.
Proper move.
Go follow me on Twitter. Watch my VR scene if you have an Oculus. It is hot as hell. I cannot recommend it enough. I've gotten off to it about 100 times, so I'm sure you will too.
Someone tell me about it, please. Someone tell me about it, because I'm not going to watch it, because like people I like in real life, I know in real. It's a rule for me. Like, I don't jerk off to people I know in real life unless I've been inside them. So
that is fair. I will never watch your VR porn either. I promise. Pinky swear.
Well, now I'm kind of hurt. No. My VR porn would be super boring, but just be like, why is he just like hanging out like by himself, jerking off? Like, just no one's into it. Well, I mean, someone would be into it because it's, the internet. Somebody's into it. But anywho, I didn't mean to derail your sign off.
Yeah.
Watch that scene.
Come interact with me. I'm still very new, so I'm talking to everyone who DMs me. So just come chat with me. I'm excited.
Yeah. Do that now before she learns the error of her ways on that.
Oh yes, come DM me now before I stop doing it forever. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I have a feeling by the time this actually airs, she will have learned the error of her ways on that. But Jamie, it's been an absolute pleasure. And as always, you can find me at Matt_Slayer on Twitter, Matt Slayer on Instagram, Matt F. and Slayer on Facebook. You can find the Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Matt F. and Slayer. You can find the podcast at Now We Drink on Twitter and Now We Drink _ on Instagram. And until next week, drink up, motherfuckers.